players aren't getting any coal in their stockings on Christmas. That's because they are on the nice list after a nice win against the Chargers. Final score of 24-22. The Bills are 9-6 on the season. Welcome into Bills Postgame Live, represented by the divorce and estate planning law firm of Clark Peshkin. Maddy Glab alongside of Steve Tasker. And Steve, the Chargers got out to a lead in the beginning of this game, and the Bills kind of had to fight back, backs against the wall toward the end of this one too, to regain that lead, and the Bills were able to do it when they weren't playing their best. We haven't seen much of that from this team this season. When they aren't playing their best, they've really struggled in those one-score games. The Bills were able to get it done tonight. Very impressive last series by the offense to score that field goal, a couple of big-time third-down conversions, and then a big sack by Ed Oliver in the defensive stand to finish things off here. What do you think about the performance?
The two third downs to Shakir and to Diggs were absolutely enormous, and the Shakir touchdown, it's almost a good thing that it actually didn't count, because then it gave him a chance to squeeze the clock down to less than a half a minute. And also, you saw 30 seconds left. Maybe the Bills learned something a couple of years ago with the 13 seconds. They snapped them off right away, and Ed Oliver getting the sack to start that last drive for the Chargers when they didn't have any timeouts. The clock was running. They got that last snap off with the second of the last snap off with 10 seconds to go, and there was 1 second left on the end of it. They really squeezed the life out of them at the end. But this is a game where the Bills were -3 in the turnover category. And statistically speaking, it's virtually impossible to win a game when you're -3. They had 2 fumbles lost and an interception. Chargers had 0 turnovers. They had more time of possession. They had more first down, less penalties. It was unbelievable. It was an unbelievable display. They played pretty solid football, and if it weren't for Josh Allen and the Bills making a couple of big plays, Gabe Davis coming through, the Bills had no business winning this game, and that's the kind of game they have not been able to win. They have not been able to win an ugly game. Tonight was pretty ugly, and they pulled out the win.
And to be able to figure things out like this at this point in the season, the Bills are in a good place right now. If you look at the playoff standings, they're at number 6. So technically right now, if things remain as is, which we know there's going to be a slate of games this weekend, they would be in. Right now they're in a scenario where they can control their own destiny. So you keep winning, you have and into the playoffs here. So good thing that the Bills have done what they needed to do this weekend, which is win against the Chargers. That Steelers win against the Bengals also helps them out in terms of how things are seated at this point. But you got to continue to win games. And I talked about the Bills being able to figure things out like this at this point in the season. You're going to be playing good teams here down the stretch. Yes, we know the Patriots aren't super impressive this season, but the Bills dropped a game to the Patriots already this season. That Dolphins game at the end of the year, the last game of the regular season, is going to be huge. And then if you're in the playoffs, you're going to be playing talented teams that deserve to be in the playoffs. You got to be able to figure out how to win a game when you're not playing your best, and they did that tonight. I think that's really big for this group.
Yeah, absolutely. And of course, we've been watching the standings very closely. The Bills 2 weeks ago were in the 11th spot in the AFC. Tonight, as of us sitting here live after postgame, the Bills are 6th seed in the AFC. So they're in the tournament tonight with the rest of the games this weekend to go through, and that'll decide how close and whether they stay there or not. But they went from 11 to 6 in 2 weeks, and with this win, ugly as it was, you can breathe a sigh of relief that the Bills are standing in the playoff spot as we close out tonight's game.
All right, well, Josh Allen was 15 of 21, 237 passing yards for him, 1 passing touchdown, 2 rushing touchdowns, finishes with a 104.7 passer rating. A couple impressive records that he broke as well. We'll get to those later, but Josh is on the podium right now, so let's get right over to him.
That took some work, huh?
It did.
You guys don't make it easy on yourselves for whatever reason.
Well, I mean, give credit where it's due. That's a team, again, coaching change. Obviously, their quarterback was out, but they came out and they played hard. They had a really good game plan, and it's tough because when you're playing a team with nothing to lose, that's a dangerous team, and that was a dangerous team we played today. We got it out and found a way.
Did you feel that because they got beat the way they did, that would be a factor too, that no team is going to not bounce back from that?
Yeah, it's the NFL. I mean, these are highest level professional athletes in the world. each and every week that we're playing. It's not easy to win. It's not easy to win by a lot. I'm just fortunate that we found a way. Our defense made a stop there at the end at Oliver with the sack. I think he hit his incentive there too, so that's probably a pretty good feeling for him right now. But that's the name of the game right now. This is our playoffs. It doesn't matter how we get them done, just get them done.
Hey Josh, the touchdown pass that Gabe seemed to really get you guys going. What did you see on that play when you were scrolling?
Yeah, I mean, I just obviously extended the play a little bit. I peeked their boundary safety. Khalil was coming over the middle of the field. His eyes were on him. Gabe did a good job of just trusting it and going deep. It's something that we practice a lot and something that we haven't really done all that much this year. So it was good to get that one on the field.
Sounds crazy, but it seemed like the Khalil touchdown getting reversed was a good thing. Did you? I mean, you never want to take one off, but in that case, did you feel like that was actually a good thing?
I mean, analytically, probably yes. Now, as an offense, you know, we want to score a touchdown and put them in an even more difficult situation. Obviously, not scoring there allowed us to wind the clock down a little bit. They wasted their third and final timeout. But it's just if you want 3 versus 7-point lead, obviously they'll have a couple. They would have one timeout there with that touchdown. But yeah.
Josh, Gabe went a couple of games without a reception. What was clicking with him tonight specifically?
Again, he was just doing his job. Last few games, sometimes it just didn't pan out for him to get the ball. You know, whether it was coverage, whether it was concept. But the mental toughness on that kid to not get down and not let that beat him down. It's very impressive. You know, he works hard, doesn't complain. He just keeps doing his job. Opportunity finds him. But I thought all of our receivers made plays tonight. You talk about Khalil. Obviously, that last one, but that third down, I threw it behind him. He made a heck of a catch. Stephon Diggs coming up on some third downs, huge, especially that last one, that little out route to the field. You know, we'd worked on that practice a few different times, and it was good to get that in the game, just trusting the feet, trusting where he was going to be. And that's where we went to on third down was our, number 14.
Josh, you've been in playoff mode now for 3 weeks. How much do you lean on your experience in big games to manage the ebbs and flows like tonight?
Yeah, again, it's just understanding what's going on. You know, the flow of the game. Obviously going down, I think we were 10-0 right away. Things weren't clicking. You know, just continue to stay patient. We got that one play to Gabe and kind of felt ourselves get into a groove. But again, still a lot to learn from. We're going to look at this film and obviously made some bonehead decisions. If I set up and just throw it deep to Steph, it might be a completely different game. But again, just find a way.
Does anything stand out to you as to why it wasn't clicking on those first 3 drives? Like what? Anything?
I think we were just hurting ourselves a little bit, putting ourselves behind the sticks and second and longs. Couple penalties that didn't help. Yeah.
On that, you alluded to some big plays on that game-winning drive on third down. I mean, that could be your season potentially. Are you thinking that? I mean, with the satisfaction to come through when your season really is on the line on that one drive.
Yeah, and I told this to him in the locker room. Season game on line, 14 is going to be our go-to target. He knows that. I think everybody in the world knows that. And for him to just, again, put his head down, he's been working hard, and it was the biggest play of the game, in my opinion.
You did what you needed to do. Tomorrow, will you sit back and see what happens around the league a little bit and watch the games and keep
absolutely.
track?
I'll turn on red zone, but I'm in a joyful mood. We might open gifts tomorrow, so we'll see.
How big have these last 3 victories been for you guys?
Huge. I mean, again, backs against the wall. But again, still some season left, and we gotta finish it in our own terms, and just try to find a way to get in. Thank you, guys.
All right, that's QB1 Josh Allen. I wanted to talk about the game that he had, kind of the records that he broke in this one. 2 of them. He's now the second NFL quarterback in history with at least 50 rushing touchdowns in his career. He joins Cam Newton, so getting close to that Cam Newton number in his 6th NFL season. He is the first player in NFL history with 4 consecutive seasons of 40 total touchdowns. That is an impressive feat. We know he had that streak going of passing touchdowns and rushing touchdowns in a game. He earned the record last week. He breaks his own record this week. He's now up to 11 games this season with a passing and a rushing touchdown. 13 rushing touchdowns on the season for him. That's beyond a career high of touchdowns on the ground for him. I think his career high was maybe 9 before this season, but Josh Allen continues to break records, get close to records. I joked about it on Twitter tonight. I said, Josh Allen steps on the field, Josh Allen breaks another record.
Yeah, and he had 70% completion percentage tonight. Touchdown, the interception. Like I said, they were -3 on the turnovers, 3 fumbles. They lost 2 of them. I mean, the interception as well. They got no turnovers from the Chargers. And Josh just continues. He only threw it 21 times. That's still not a lot of throws from what we used to see when they had to lean on Josh. Leonard Fournette was up tonight. I know a lot of fans have been clamoring to see him play. Not too many opportunities, although he had 5 rushes for 20 yards, average of 4, long of 9. Good to see him get in there and get his feet wet here down the stretch. But this is a team that really, Bills fans would see it more so than maybe the national audience. They stumbled all over themselves early in this game. Couldn't get anything going. Came back and took the lead after a stumbling start, 14-10 at halftime. You thought, okay. But it almost seemed like they decided the game was over at halftime. It didn't show up in halftime either. They went out 21, then they got 14-13, then 21-13, I believe. It was a back and forth affair, and then they finally, with the turnovers, let the Chargers back into it and gave them the lead late that they had to get back at the end. So it was a game where Josh, on that final drive, when the chips were down, Diggs and Shakir converted those 3rd downs. They were able to stay on the field, squeeze the clock down, and do everything they needed to do to win this game. Against a team like the Chargers and the shape that franchise is in right now on the football side of it, it was all they needed to win, and they used they gave themselves no margin of error.
I know. I mean, when your back's against the wall, you need to lean on your athletes, and that's what they were able to do. Khalil Shakir came up big with a big catch. I mean, Stephon Diggs had an incredible catch down the stretch. Ed Oliver finishes with 2 sacks on the night. Josh Allen said he probably reaches his incentive, one of his incentives for this season, which is great to see. I mean, he's had such a great season. He's worked so hard. We love Ed here, and I'm happy to see things paying off for him. He's definitely worth every penny that the Bills paid for him. You talk about the Bills struggling to get going out of the gate. They had a slow start. The Chargers go up on them early, and we talk about this team being so talented, but sometimes shooting themselves in the foot, and you had that interception that Christian Benford had early on, and that got called back for a penalty, and then they go and punt the ball to the Bills, and Deontay Hardy fumbles the return, and the Chargers recover, and then you have an interception by Josh Allen, you have a fumble by James Cook, and then you have 7 penalties on the night. So when you add those things up, it's tough for this team to sometimes get out of their own way, but they were able to do that. All those things went wrong for this team tonight, and they still found a way to win this game, I think, which says a lot about the maturity, says a lot about what they've learned from tight games that they've been in. You talked about the 13 seconds game and them being able to take something from that when you have just a few seconds on the clock, and you've got to be able to stop the opposing offense from getting in field goal territory or getting in a position to score. They were able to do that against the Chargers. Yeah, they were able to figure things out when they needed to, get the dub, and keep moving forward, keep being in the playoff picture, which they are right now, sitting at number 6 in the standings.
They had 7 penalties for 64 yards, 27 and a half of those yards came on one drive in the second half when they really needed to get it going, and they made a couple of plays. They got 1 penalty and overcame it, got the first down. They had another penalty, overcame it, and then couldn't overcome it. 2nd and 20, and then after they had to punt it, they got another half the distance on that same drive, which made Sam Martin punt it out of his own end zone. The penalties were critical tonight, really hampered their ability to get in this game and get on top of the Chargers. They did it to themselves. They can't do that as these games come towards the end of the season. It's something they've really got to address. I thought the special teams struggled tonight. Tyler Bass did pretty well, but man, oh man, the false start when you're on your own 5-yard line is inexcusable. You can't get holding penalties on every time you get a good return on punt or kickoff return. They had a couple of holding penalties on returns. The offensive line, and I heard Eric say this, and they also said it on the television broadcast. Some of the offensive line holding penalties were ticky-tack or soft calls, and you were surprised they were called. But they get them called, and Spencer Brown on a cut block tripped the guy. You got to keep your feet on the ground when you. And I know it sounds crazy, but you got to keep your feet close together. You can't raise your leg when you cut block a guy. Otherwise, they call tripping. Spencer Brown got called for it. Penalties were a factor that, you got to blame yourself. You can't blame the officials. You got to blame yourself on those penalties. And then, the turnovers compounded it.
Well, let's get into this week's Player Spotlight. It's presented by Microsoft Surface. Microsoft Surface is the official tablet and sideline technology of the Buffalo Bills, and tonight we are spotlighting Gabe Davis for the game that he had 4 catches for 130 receiving yards, a touchdown. His longest reception was 57 yards. Steve, what impressed you about his performance tonight?
Well, a couple of things. One, the catch right out of the gate. This one right out of the gate for the first down. The long catch down the sideline. When Josh really needed him. Obviously, the scramble play for the touchdown was absolutely gigantic. Pulling that one in was huge. It got the Bills on the board and got the monkey off their back when they were down 10-0. And then the one down the near side where he got beaten, just got his feet in bounds after plucking the ball out of the air with both hands, was a huge play. So only 4 catches for 130 yards. The long was 57. Really came up big. Big plays were important for an offense that's struggling like the Bills were when they turned it over. You've got to balance it out with some big plays. Gabe Davis helped them do that. This 57-yarder for the touchdown was absolutely gigantic. It got them on the board and set the game back on its axis when they were down 10.
Yeah, I love the play call there by Joe Brady and how it works out for Gabe Davis to be in a place where Josh Allen can throw him that ball and he can catch it. To just take a shot like that when you're down, and then, you know what, the game is now to a 3-point deficit between you. And so that's great to be able to lean on the big play like that. The Bills haven't been able to do that quite a lot this season. From what we have known in Josh Allen's early years, when they leaned on the big play quite a bit, the Chargers do allow quite a few big plays. They rank 30th in the NFL in terms of allowing plays of 20 or more yards. So it was great to see the Bills be able to go to that, to lean on that. Their pass defense, the Chargers' pass defense, also one of the worst in the NFL. So the Bills definitely took advantage of that tonight. All right, Ed Oliver is in the locker room, so let's get over to our 2-sack Cowboy.
Like I said, you come in their house, you're not just going to run over nobody. I don't care if they got a head coach, don't have a head coach, have no coaches, just them out there doing whatever they want to do. You're still not, it's a sense of pride when you come play at somebody's house that no matter how good, how bad the team is, they're going to play harder. It's their house. You know what I'm saying?
You've had some big sacks, some big games in your career. Where does this one rank right now, just that making that play?
It probably rank higher if I wasn't so tired right now. But this one and the Cowboys game, the first Cowboys game on Thanksgiving, I got a couple more Thanksgiving games, every Thanksgiving game. This one up there with the Thanksgiving game. Yeah.
That last one was the clincher at the end there. How fulfilling was that to know that was the one play that you needed to make?
It was very fulfilling. Like I said, man, that's what they pay me to do, make plays late in games, just like in Kansas City, like here. You know what I'm saying? It's becoming a trend, a good trend, so I hope I could just keep it going.
With Jordan out, what was it like seeing Puna get his opportunity? And he made a bunch of big plays tonight.
Yeah, Puna had a sack. I got a good pressure. He got the sack. Then on my first sack, or half sack, whatever, he got the pressure. I got the sack. So it's stuff like that you need inside. You got to work off each other. And then the last sack, everybody had to do their job. But obviously having Puna out there, he's a great rusher. Uses his hand well, plays the run well. Everything that you would want in a defensive tackle. And I mean, we just had him sitting on ice, ready for his opportunity. We got guys like Limbaugh, Tim, me, Phil. Everybody's fighting for playing time, and man, it's hard, And he just had to be patient and wait on his time. But his time is now. Y'all see, he always could play, it was just, you got so much talent, it get hard. Then we getting Daquan back, so, it gets hard, bro. In our room, we really a competitive group. And, hey, you want playing time, you really got to, things like that to keep him up. And you know what I'm saying? That's what we need.
Just one last one from me. You had talked before the season about how you wanted to outplay your contract, basically, prove everything about it. How are you feeling? I know, tired, obviously, but how does it feel right now to be having these statement plays in a game like this?
Yeah, feel good. That's what they paid me for. Everybody, when I got paid, they had their certain opinion. And I had my opinion by my own self. And I'm the type of guy who walks around with a chip on my shoulder 24/7. So I just compartmentalize and just went after a goal. And I hit one of the goals, at least one of the goals I didn't hit it already, so I got 2 more to hit. So I just keep on trucking.
Awesome. Thanks, Ed. Congrats.
Yep.
Have a day, Ed Oliver. The defense finishes as a whole with 5 sacks and 7 quarterback hits. Great to see Poona Ford get in on the action as well. He was a part of the game plan today because we have a couple more defensive line injuries, unfortunately. AJ Epinesa not playing in this one, as well as Jordan Phillips, who recently got surgery and is still recovering. So nice to see guys step up in players' absences and be able to create some havoc against a quarterback.
Early in this game, it looked like they were really going to struggle to get pressure, and finally McDermott decided he was going to send extra guys and some guys that they didn't expect to come from the secondary, leave himself a little vulnerable in the back end. But they got some guys clear, and it turned into some good sacks, some sack numbers. 5 sacks is really good. Ed is continued to be dominating, and in fact, Ed was not solely responsible. Ed was the catalyst that allowed Poona Ford to get his sack. Ed ran right by the quarterback, came through, forced the quarterback to dodge around him, and he stepped right into Poona Ford. So Ed Oliver wreaking havoc in the backfield for the Buffalo Bills and the Chargers tonight, and a lot of guys were reaping the benefits.
All right, Sean McDermott now 14-8 in the primetime window, a pretty good record for our head coach. So let's hear from him.
To everyone out there, happy holidays. Tough game, gritty performance by our guys. They hung in there. We knew it was going to be tough coming out here, and give credit to the Chargers. They were ready to play, and our guys stuck with it. Good to see James break 1,000 yards. I think first time by one of our backs since 2017 when Shady got it. Ed Oliver, 2 sacks. The last one was huge, obviously, for us, running the clock down, and 5 sacks overall. That were all big for us in big moments of the game, and then Josh, the play to Shakir, the 3rd down on the game-winning drive. I know it's Josh's, I think 18th game-winning drive, so just incredible accomplishment, and just overall resilient win. So proud of the guys, and the time's yours.
A little piece of you glad they wiped out the Shakir touchdown?
Well, listen, we've been in those this year where you're defending a field goal and it's 2 minute, but it's not really 2 minute. I'm saying if had Shakir been ruled a touchdown, it would have been defending a little bit more obviously than the field goal. But it's 2 minute, but it's not 2 minute, right? Because there's potentially a timeout left at that point, but everything happens for a reason.
Coach, I know the offense finishes it with that drive and Tyler kicks it, but the defense had more than the lion's share of the load tonight with short fields, turnovers to defend. They keep them out of the end zone on the last 5 drives of the game, including 2 short fields. Just the job by your defensive unit.
Yeah. The turnovers, we got to continue to work on that and get that cleaned up. You can't turn the ball over 3 times, and I mean, just the numbers, it's hard to win when you do that, and especially when the turnover differential's 3-0, -3 in this case. So we got to do a better job with that overall as a team, taking the ball away on defense and special teams, and then and then protecting the football better on offense and special teams there. So they were doing some things that they hadn't shown. Obviously they came in well prepared, and I thought our guys settled in and responded. And I think we did a good job in the red zone, 3rd down as well, and had some big plays on those 3rd downs as well to help us out.
Ed Oliver comes up with a huge play. He just always seems to put himself in that position late in the game.
Yeah.
his performance? What would you think of his?
Yeah, I mean, I didn't think we were rushing well on early downs. I think they were doing a good job of getting their hands on us early, and then, but when we needed it, some critical third downs, we had some big time sacks. Ed had 2 of them. Obviously, the last one was huge, just to burn so much time off the clock, because it really put them in a, pretty much a. They can only do 1 or 2 things right there. So when they have a little bit more time left, or if that's an incomplete, and they can still do some things, and they got a really good field goal kicker. So really we only had about 20, 25 yards to play with right there and give, because he's hit one from, I think, 55 already. He's probably good from 60 plus from a game-winning standpoint. So just real proud of the guys.
That touchdown to Gabe really seemed to jumpstart the offense. I think he finished with the season high in yards. Just what stood out to you about his play tonight?
Well, when you do things the right way and you keep it about the team, which Gabe has. He hasn't had the touches, call it, over the last couple of weeks, but he's blocked well. He's been in the right spots, and he just stayed with it. And the ball finds you when you do things the right way, and I'm extremely proud of him for it. It's a credit to him. It's a credit to his excuse me, his week-to-week approach.
Something where you have to maybe have conversations with him in those weeks where he's not getting the ball, just stay with it, or is that something where he knows and you know that he knows that? Yeah, I
mean, I think a little for any wide receiver, it's hey, just touch points, like just hey man, we good, and just keep doing what you're doing. The ball will find you, and it gets hard for those guys. They're human, and they want the ball, they want to produce and factor into the wins, and but I think just overall that. Again, his unselfish nature is much appreciated.
For Tyler to come through there, I know it was a shorter field goal, but he's still got to make it.
Yeah.
How good was that for you to see?
Yeah, real good. I mean, the execution, you can never take those for granted, right? From the snap to the hold, Reed and Sam and Tyler take so much pride in that and their work, and they execute at a very high level. So good to see those guys and the confidence that comes with that.
Why squib it at the end?
Just trying to burn more time off the clock and trying to get it all the way through. It came up just short of getting all the way through, but ideally you can get it all the way through. But wanted to take as much time off the clock as we could, again, because, where they got it, I think we had, like I said, about 20, 25 yards, and they've got a good field goal kicker. So.
You were asked about Ed earlier. You never quite know how a guy is going to respond when he gets a contract. It seems like he has responded in exactly the way that you would hope for. Would you agree with that?
Absolutely. And sometimes it's you think most players this, and it's just unique to the individual. And Ed has gone the other way. Like he's taken it, and these are my words, but he's taken it like, hey, I'm gonna show you how much how grateful I am for it, and I'm gonna play up to that level, and that just really says a lot about who he is as a person and how much pride he takes in his work and the job he does.
With Steph, early in the game, got banged up. I think it was on that first or second play. Was there any residuals of that throughout the game? It seemed like he was kind of not out there a couple times.
Yeah, not that I'm aware of. I haven't discussed that with Nate. Not that I'm aware of, but I understand. Yeah, he was in and out maybe more than normal.
With that being said, Josh goes to him twice on that last run. Actually, maybe even 3 times. He catches it twice. Josh said, I'm going to go to 14 at the end of the game, period, point blank. Yeah, in that final drive when you're watching them work their way down the field, how good is it to have 17 and 14 on your side?
Well, that's big. I mean, those two have a lot of trust and confidence in one another, and Josh knows where Steph's going to be most of the time. And I thought that Joe Brady did a great job. We had some open receivers on that drive right there, and I think it started with Dawson early on there, and then Steph, and then Shakir as well. So just some great plays. You got to have the protection to get it done, and the O-line did a good job.
The balance on offense was, you won, but he only threw 21 times tonight, not taking the sacks out of it, and you ran it like 30. Is that ideal to have Josh, not be a bigger part of it because he's Josh?
No, I mean it's just the feel that Joe has for the game, really, more than anything, and so I just think that we'll go back and evaluate the film, and maybe there were some more opportunities for us to go to the air with it. I know Joe will do that, and we'll continue to try and get better every week.
Fumbled a couple of times, lost one. Deontay lost one on a punt return, but you stuck with them both. Deontay was back out there, and then James got the ball again. Why? We've seen in the past sometimes maybe they take a series or two off after that happens, but that didn't happen tonight. Why?
Well, I have confidence in those guys to begin with, and then secondly, I would say it's it's late in the year at this point, right? Early in the year, or you're new, and bless you, and you need to be learn a lesson. Then maybe yeah, but in this case, Deontay's fielded a lot of punts, carried the ball a lot, so has James. I have confidence in those guys, and we're at the point in the season where you put your best players out there.
Defense.
Sean, with wins in 4 out of the past 5, considering you were 5-5 at the midway point, how good is it that at the end of the week you guys could be in a playoff spot? I mean, I know there's 2 games left to go.
Yeah, I'm just extremely grateful. The guys have done a heck of a job. We are blessed in so many ways. Ownership, number one, they've been extremely supportive of for years of what we've done and how we've tried to do things, and supportive of the players. And so we'll see where things go. We'll just continue to take it 1 week at a time.
You look at the Chargers film from their previous game, and it's a travesty. And why was today such a tough one for you?
Well, it's the NFL. It is. It's the NFL, and obviously they made some moves and that are part of the business of the NFL, and players usually respond when those moves are made. And as hard as that is, Coach Giff, he's well respected around the league, and knowing of him for a number of years in this profession, I figured he would get a response out of the players and the team, and he did. And so we didn't come out here thinking anything other than that, quite honestly. The way that the game went, they played 10 days ago or whatever it was, most teams in the NFL, if not all teams, would respond just on that alone, let alone the coaching change.
The luxury of a Saturday game, you have a full slate of games coming up tomorrow. How closely will you kind of watch what goes on with the teams that are kind of in that log jam there in the playoff standings?
Yeah, we'll be paying attention to it. I mean, I'm just looking forward to get a little bit of rest. It's been a short week for us, and then traveling out west here and get the guys some rest themselves and enjoy Christmas and get ourselves ready for the Patriots here.
You guys are uncharacteristic to turn it over 3 times like this. When James puts it on the turf in the 4th quarter, do you take the defense aside at all and give them any extra message? Did you sense anything about their resolve in that moment?
Well, we try to. The quick answer is no. What we try and do, if you have time, but you don't always have time because you're not sure if it's going to a TV timeout in the 4th quarter. They didn't have as many this week in this week's game, I guess due to time. But you try to give them a short message before they go take the field, and usually Bobby Babich, one of our defensive coaches, rounds them up and gives them a quick, encouraging message there. And I think to come away from those drives with either 3 or no points was huge for us. Thanks, guys.
All right, that was head coach Sean McDermott on the podium talking about the game, and he spoke about the 3 turnovers that the Bills had and said, it's hard to be able to be in a position to win a game when you turn the ball over 3 times, and we've got to get better than that, better from that, and be able to work on that. And hopefully this is a game, right, where you can watch the film back and you can learn from some of this and be able to implement it moving forward as you need to start continuing to win games. I mean, 3-game win streak here for this team, which is great. First 3-game win streak they've had since weeks 2 through 4, the beginning of the season when they were on a heater, averaging well over 30 points a game. They scored 24 points in this one, playing the Patriots at home next week, their final 1 o'clock game in the season. But hopefully you can learn some things from this one and be able to take that and use it going forward.
Yeah, that's the one thing that really is frustrating for coaches. It's not scheme, it's not play design, it's not play call, it's all on the players. Turnovers are 100% on the players, and you lose games that way. -3 on the turnovers was a crusher, and it almost cost them their ability to win this game. And it certainly kept the Chargers close But that's something you can harp on as a coach and work on it and put it at the top of everybody's mind as they prepare during the week. The running backs carrying the ball, the first thing they do is forget about getting yards, just make sure you got the ball at the end of the play. It sounds basic and simple. It's not, because when you're out there competing really hard, you start thinking about the next yard, the next step, and the next defender that you're going to have to do, and you forget that there are guys chasing you, forget that there's somebody trying to get the ball that you may not see. And it's easy to get distracted. And for Josh, when he's rolling out to his right and tries to hit Diggs deep, he can't get enough on the ball to get it over the top, and it turns into an interception. So it's just those kind of plays. I mean, I've been told it's like a 5% in NFL history. You win the game 5% of the time when you're -3 on the turnover margin. We're part of the 5% tonight.
The Bills are part of the 5%, I feel like, in a lot of things that happen just because of their sheer athletic ability when it comes to Josh Allen doing things when the clock is ticking towards 0 and the team needs to do something, make something out of nothing. They were able to do that tonight. All right. Gabe Davis had quite the game, over 100 receiving yards, 130 to be exact, a touchdown, a couple of big plays. So let's hear from him and what he had to say after this one in the locker room.
So many close games this year. Is this kind of like comfortable almost at this point to be in these games that are one score throughout? Like, what is that feeling like when you're in these games?
I mean, yeah, you want to be able to win the close games, and that's one of our big goals this year is be able to win it when it's tight. And I feel like that just turns us up a little bit more to go out there and really execute.
Did you sense this team was going to be dangerous coming into this game off last week and the coaching change?
Yeah, 100%. They're professionals. You know what I mean? They're fighting to win no matter what. It doesn't matter what their record is. It doesn't matter who they're going against. They're going to go out there and play hard, and that's what they did.
Is it more satisfying to win it this way, where both sides of the ball had to make plays late to finish it off?
Yeah, you want to see some resiliency in your team, and we saw that tonight.
Thanks, Gabe.
Happy for Gabe and the game that he had. He had 2 games before this one where he had 0 catches. He hadn't had a catch since the Eagles game, so before Buffalo's bye week, and it was nice to see him a part of the plan. I'm sure he's a part of the plan every single week, but sometimes balls get thrown your way and it doesn't work out how you want it to, and it was nice to see him catch 4 passes. He was targeted 6 times, caught 4 of those for 130 yards. He is a big play type of receiver. It works against this Chargers defense. As we said, the pass defense not so good for the Chargers. They allow quite a few big plays, so it makes sense as to why Gabe Davis had a couple of big receptions there. And hopefully we see more from him. I mean, when he plays well, this is another wrinkle to Buffalo's offense that's hard to stop.
Yeah, consistency's been the big bugaboo for Gabe. I mean, there's been games where it's 0 targets for 0 yards. He gets a higher percentage of reps and higher percentage of plays in the Bills' offense than any other player outside the offensive line. And sometimes he absolutely is just not a factor in the passing game. Tonight, early on, he got a chance to do it. He got this first conversion from Josh. And then, of course, as Josh rolled out to his right and hit him for the 57-yard touchdown where he dragged the defender into the end zone for the last 12 yards of that play, you knew it might be a different kind of night. And then he caught another first down conversion on just a little hitch route on the outside, and because of that, the guy had 4 catches for 130 yards, a big number. Mm-hmm. You just wish it would happen more than once every 6 weeks. Yeah. And he wouldn't completely disappear from the stat sheet in between those. So it's obviously gratifying to see him contribute in a game where they needed everybody to get over the hump, and he was a big part of it.
Yeah, this offense is better when Gabe Davis is having games like this. It doesn't have to be 130 every single game, but hey, if you can catch the balls that are thrown your way and you can find a way to get open and make a difference, this offense looks better when Gabe Davis is playing at a high level. All right, before we wrap things up here, we want to get to Chris Brown and his insider's take.
In a game where Buffalo's special teams and offense could not protect the football, Buffalo's defense came up huge. They stopped the Chargers from reaching the end zone on 5 straight drives to end the game, including a pair of drive starts at the Buffalo 48 and Buffalo 32-yard lines. And Ed Oliver was instrumental in closing out the game with a sack with 23 seconds left and no timeouts to all but seal it for Buffalo. Oliver finished with 2 sacks, 2 quarterback hits, and 2 tackles for loss. With the win, Buffalo improves to 9-6 on the season, and with a Jacksonville or a Miami loss this weekend, they control their own destiny the rest of the way. At SoFi Stadium in Inglewood, California, I'm Chris Brown for Bills Postgame Live.
All right, thanks, Chris Brown. Ticketmaster is the presenting sponsor of the Buffalo Bills 2023 season. Ticketmaster is the official ticket marketplace of the NFL. And a couple things I want to shout out here as we're wrapping up tonight's show. The Bills are 17-2 in December and January since 2020. They find a way to win games when it means the most. Down the stretch, when you're getting toward the playoffs, December, January football, it's meaningful football, and the Bills win those games. Also, shout out to James Cook, 1,000 rushing yards for him on the season.
Absolutely. You have Josh going over 40 touchdowns for the 4th straight year, the only player in NFL history to do that. James Cook going over 1,000 yards rushing for the first time in a minute for a Buffalo Bills running back. Gabe Davis having a great night as he did. And we've seen this before, this team, and credit Sean McDermott for this. As flat as they played tonight and as struggling as this win was against a team that has had a down season and fired their head coach and all the problems that are going on in Los Angeles, this team seems to start seasons pretty strong and also finish them very strong. They win when Sean McDermott gets them into the playoffs, they win games in the playoffs. They haven't been to the Super Bowl. They've been to the AFC Championship. They've won a bunch of wild card games. But this is a team that crescendos and seems to do that at the right time. If they can get 1 or 2 or more than that guys off the injured list, if they can get guys back into the lineup over the next couple of weeks and continue to win games and get healthier right at the start of the tournament, that'll be exciting. That will be exciting. That's on the menu. Yeah, ugly win, okay. But this is a team that's crescendoing at the right time, and it's exciting to think about.
Survive in advance, baby. That's what they're doing right now.
This game, too, they're coming up, the New England Patriots at 1 o'clock in Orchard Park at Highmark, Sunday at 1 o'clock. There has been, at least from my observation, a smoldering anger over the loss that the Patriots handed this franchise early in the season. Credit to them. They did it. They got it done. And they did it to a really good football team. But this is not a game I would anticipate the Buffalo Bills showing up flat to this coming Sunday.
Well, Bills Mafia, your gift, your Christmas gift from the Bills is you get to enjoy.
It wasn't wrapped.
Sunday and
it wasn't
Monday
wrapped
football.
very well, but you did get the gift. It was a nice gift.
It was some last-minute shopping.
Yeah.
It was some last-minute shopping. They went out there on Christmas Eve. They were shopping. They wrapped it up last minute for you guys, but you know they gifted you a big W, and now you get to enjoy Sunday and Monday football from the couch. No stress at all with the Bills win in your mind. And then we're going to bring in the new year with the New Year's Eve game against the Patriots. Hopefully another dub as we head into 2024. Wouldn't that be nice?
Yes, that would be extremely nice. Going into the Week 18 against the Dolphins, if you could find a way to beat the New England Patriots and show up to that game 10-6, wow, what an enormous game that will be down in Miami. And it'll be great weather, and it will be fun to be a part of that one.
All right, that's going to do it for us. We hope you have a wonderful Christmas and Christmas Eve and happy holiday season. For Steve Tasker, I'm Maddy Glab. We will see you guys after the Patriots game next week.